Welcome to the SBDC's Business Blueprint, where we dive deep into the topics that matter most to you. I'm your host, Jeffrey Beckles, and we're addressing the question at the heart of Bahamian entrepreneurship. Are our local businesses truly benefiting from the Small Business Development Center? We've got a dynamic discussion lined up for you today with two esteemed guests who are the forefront of small business development in the Bahamas. Joining me today are Samantha Rolle, Executive Director of the SBDC, and Edison Sumner, Principal at Sumner Strategic Partners and past Director and CEO of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation. Together, they'll shed light on the SBD's impact, opportunities for growth, and the evolving landscape of small businesses in our nation. Welcome. Good to have you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In this riveting conversation, we'll explore the SBDC's role in fostering local entrepreneurship, discuss success stories, and critically examine the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. So let's uncover the real story behind the SBDC's efforts and their influence on Bahamian businesses. Let's get started in this conversation. Now, Samantha, the SBDC is rapidly approaching 10 years, a decade of existence, established in 2016. Tell us a little bit about how the SBDC has evolved and some of the work that's being done by your team.
Well, actually, the SBDC is approaching 6 years
Aha.
this September,
Mhm.
right? And so, the initial construct of it was all about how do we now empower micro, small, and medium-sized businesses in the Bahamas. And so SBDC was structured to not only provide funding or access to capital, in which we do,
Mhm.
but it was also structured to make sure that businesses have an avenue or a place to come where they can get that educational, entrepreneurial training, to that capacity building, where they can get the access to mentorship, right? So you have those who have come before, who have journeyed on, who have failed. And so talking about failings is just as important about,
Yes.
in talking about success as well. So the SBDC is to equip, is to empower, is to help to find funding, and provide any other additional support just to make sure that micro, small, and medium sized businesses thrive in the Bahamas.
Now, Edison, as someone who has been involved with small businesses for many years, how have you seen the landscape evolve, change? What are some of the tangible benefits that you've seen in your interactions with small businesses?
Yeah. So I think first, let me say that I think that the introduction of the SBDC um, has proven to be a wonderful addition to the ecosystem of doing business in the country. And the SBDC has brought with it a level of business interventions, business support services that was not there before. So before we had the SBDC in place, every small business pretty much had to fend for itself,
Right.
right? Go find your own money, find your own mentors. We didn't even know what mentors were, right? We just knew that we would call someone. We didn't call them mentors. And then there was this issue always of who's going to help me with my business planning, who's going to help me with my business coaching, who's going to help with business mentorship, who's going to help with business development. All of those things were brought to bear when the SPDC was established. So the small business community now, I think, have been benefiting tremendously since the SPDC came on stream several years ago. And I think that the way that we see this moving forward is that they continue to provide this level of support for small business community, not only in the area of providing access to funding through whether it's debt or equity,
Mhm.
but now we've got this issue where the SPDC is able to actually offer these grant funding facilities, whereas before we had several government ministries who were identifying small grants for different kinds of projects and opportunities. The fact that we've been able to consolidate that in a lot of ways to one agency who can then fan out the different sources for these grants has been a tremendous help and support. So now these companies, these entrepreneurs, these small business people no longer have to walk around to 5, 6, 10 different agencies trying to find answers for one thing. They have a central location now they go to get this information, get the support, And that is what the SBDC has been able to bring to the table.
So, in addition to the SBDC's outreach, there has been significant uptick in small businesses taking advantage of the services provided, and you've seen that in a very real way. Samantha, a lot has been made about the SBDC's presence. How does the SBDC measure its success?
Yes, so it is important to measure success. I think for some of us, we would first need to define what we call success, right? Because that is determined based on the level or where you are within your business journey. Nonetheless, from an SBDC perspective, we believe in collecting, aggregating the data. We believe in doing the analysis because it then helps us to inform the way that we structure, design, and the potential outcomes and objectives of a program moving forward. What we do is we have the Economic Impact Survey. That's a survey we send out on a monthly basis to our funded pool of clients. And we refer to, those who have taken any part with SBDC as our clients because we are here to serve. And so with that economic impact survey, there are a series of questions. It's a quick survey to complete. Can do it within 3 minutes. It helps us to measure based on the funding provided across a number of things, whether it is employment, and that is based on from one, company having perhaps 1 to 2 team members or staff to perhaps expanding to 3 or 4 or 0 to 1. Then we consider, revenue sales, right? So if we were to look at the comparison of $1 in funding equates to how much in revenue sales, then we tend to look at the other measurable matrix, such as, expansion of location. We have a client where they, before coming to the SBDC, only had 1 location, a brick and mortar, and now have expanded to 2 and 3 different locations. And so these are the different areas in which we measure, and we measure impact.
You mentioned something that's critical. So before I get to ask you about any success stories that stand out, I'm going to ask Edison about the fact that Samantha mentioned the collection of data, which, while it's important to the SBDC, talk to us a little bit about why that's so important for small businesses to understand and to participate in surveys and when questions are asked, because that data is so critical to decisions have to be made about their future as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. The SBDC understands data very well. Data management, data collection. But data is the currency that runs business. Data is the currency that runs the world, right? Everything we do, whether it's in business, whether it's in politics, whether it's in personal planning, everything is all the decisions are made based on data, right? So that is really the currency that runs the world. It isn't gold. People will spend a ton of money for data,
critical.
just access to data. So it's important then for us as business persons, when we put out service asking for data from the community, business community, individuals, that is because we are trying to formulate an institution where we can access information to support you. It's the data is there to help you make the right decisions as you make your business planning, as you make decisions about the way you want to operate your business. And if you do not have access to data, then you're pretty much dead in the water, right? It's like saying you want to start a business, but you don't know what the business is, but you want the money for it.
Right.
You don't know where you want to put the business, but you want to get the money to finance the location. You want to hire people, but you don't know who you need to hire.
Right.
Data is what helps you drive those decisions. So my recommendation would be that whenever anyone, especially from the SBDC or any other institution like that, comes to the business community and says, hey, we need you to take part in the survey, answer these few questions, 5-10 minutes tops, and you'll be done with it. Take it seriously, because that information is what you're going to be relying on at some point to help you make decisions about how you want to manage your business. So it's extremely important.
You know something, Jeffrey, just to continue from that, our economic survey to date, so we have over 2,000 funded clients, 2,140 if I was to be exact. So that pool of clients receive our economic impact survey every month. Today, in terms of the level of respondents, it's shy over 300, right?
Yeah.
So that's a sample size. So
Right.
we could speak to what's happening just based on that, what I would call a small sample size.
Okay.
And so, if there is a call to action, I would echo what Edison is saying, and I would appeal to our clients to please complete the survey.
Yes.
It gives us the information to even source additional funding
Right.
for programmatic interventions in the future.
Extraordinary data is important. Let's go back to success stories. Is there a particular success story that the SBDC has been a part of that jumps to mind?
Oh man, there can never be one particular success story. We have tremendous successes across the Bahamas. I can mention a few of our clients, such as House of Assembly. We've worked with Aiden Barrow for quite some time to help to scale and get to where um, great successes are happening. I have a few of her pieces myself.
Right.
I can speak to you about Cookie Caterer. Again, that business, if you listen to his story, really came out of COVID because he was laid off,
Mm-hmm.
right, or furloughed.
Right.
And then he decided to bake cookies in his kitchen and now has, I believe, 4 locations.
Wow.
4 locations.
Good.
If we were to mention the number of businesses in Grand Bahama we've helped to support, right? Lignum Vitae, brilliant young lady entrepreneur doing well in that space. There are some other businesses, Andrew Shipping, at one point was one of the largest funded clients we had, to where they receive a combination of the funds, and that was around $700,000 and is doing well. And so those are just some success stories.
Okay. So it speaks then to the incredible capacity, opportunity, innovation that lies in the hearts of so many of our brothers and sisters here in the Bahamas. We're going to take our first break and we'll continue our conversation on the other side. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the SBDC's Business Blueprint. We're here with Samantha Rolle and Edison Sumner, and we're enjoying this conversation about the work and the impact of the SBDC. We're delving into how the SBDC's impact has been felt in Bahamian businesses and what's next for small business enterprises in the Bahamas. With any good thing that we have done, and the SBDC has done tremendously well, there's also criticism and challenges that come along with it. What are some of the challenges that you've had in your feedback from your clients?
Yeah. So I can tell you, as the SBDC has evolved, we're in that 6-year mark. Certainly, the challenges as well as the triumphs have shifted and changed over the years, and so currently we face challenges around limited resources, particularly around our grant funding. Um, we've had some challenges in making sure that we enhance, our awareness, public awareness of our programs when they're about to launch, when they launch, hosting information sessions to discuss and highlight some of the requirements of the programs. We've had challenges where even after we've announced, and we always publicly announce grant funding in particular, to where persons feel disengaged or discouraged or disappointed, perhaps, because they weren't one of the awardees. Understandably so. However, again, one of our latest programs, we would have captured or, got 344 applications with a funding ask of $3.5 million. And while there may be some merit to fund all of those applications, we simply just do not have the resources to do so. But if we're really talking about ensuring that businesses thrive, the other part of that too is there has to be a submission of businesses that are viable. And so I think that's another challenge that we have. How do we make sure that we are helpful, but then also very truthful? Because not every business idea or concept is viable.
Quite true.
And so I think those are some of the challenges. I think to some degree, the public may have this view of they see the success story, so they see the end perhaps of an entrepreneurial journey, but they don't really truly grasp how persons have navigated through that journey, how many no's they may have experienced. The fact that being an entrepreneur is not something light or for the faint of heart. And so I think those are some challenges that we have. And so when that happens and persons are not afforded the grants, we tend to get the question of the validity of our process.
Right. So education then becomes a critical part
Absolutely.
of what the SBDC has to do.
Absolutely.
Now, Edison, you've been working with small businesses. You've obviously worked in partnership with the SBDC. From your perspective, outside looking in, I would just use that expression. What's some of the feedback you've heard that can help us strengthen what we do at the SBDC?
Well, I think it's also a case from some of the partnerships that I've worked on with SBDC, right? So, for example, working also with the Venture Capital Fund, right? Works very closely with the SBDC. One of the observations that I've had is that anyone in support to what Sam said, is that anyone who actually submits an application thinks they should be funded, right? So it's almost like this kind of an attitude that because I submitted an application for funding, it means that I'm going to be funded.
It's going to be a yes.
Yes, and that I should not be denied. The other major concerns that I have that I see people, the responses has been that if you got funding from an institution like the SBDC or even through partnership with a venture fund, and if I become delinquent on that payment, it's government money anyway. So why should I have to pay it back? Right. So there's this whole issue of the lack of accountability from some of the clients who receive funding, and this expectation attitude that if I got the money from the SBDC or any of its partners, because they perceive that it's government money, that they're entitled to this money.
Right.
But then what a lot of people don't understand is that the SBDC is held to a very high standard of accountability.
True.
They have to be audited every year, as do other institutions. They've got to give an account for all the money that passes through that agency, whether it's through grant funding or otherwise. So it's going to be a case where, again, for education, that you have to manage the expectation of your clients and let them know that not every time you submit an application means you will automatically be funded. The project has to be bankable. Viable and bankable. So it's really a matter then of managing expectations.
Then that too comes with this reality that that attitude that persists in some applicants don't appreciate the fact that that has medium and longer term ramifications, because if they don't pay it back now, the SBDC is on the hook, which means that eventually their well will run dry. And so it's really important for applicants to understand that. But you mentioned something that was equally as important, and you talked about the venture fund. Partnerships obviously play a significant role in the success, in the construct of the SBDC. Talk to us a little bit about the partnerships and the value that has brought to your success thus far.
For the SBDC, our partnership pool, our collaboration, our partnership ecosystem really is the bedrock of what we do and how successful we are and can be in the future. Again, from year 1 to year 2 of the SBDC, now in year 6, we have certainly evolved in the right direction. And so our partnership involves, yes, the government, but it also involves the Chamber of Commerce, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce, and other Family Island commerce across the Bahamas. Our partnership involves the University of the Bahamas. Our partnership involves private sector. So private companies that are a part of what it is that, again, whether it's mutually beneficial objects or outcomes to obtain. And so we have partnered with cruise lines, we have partnered with
multilaterals.
And so in order for us to be successful, the partnerships are crucial. we've gotten funding from multilateral organizations. And so you look at the cost that we have expensed in terms of, let's say, funding, grant funding, and other funding modalities, but there is a cost to design and stand up these programs, right? And so all of that is through our partnerships.
Great. Well, this conversation certainly has been insightful thus far, and we will take a break. And when we come back from our commercial break, we'll be getting into our Mentorship Minute with Ariel Pinder.
Hi everyone, I'm Ariel Pinder, your host for the Mentorship Minute. I'm thrilled to share today's tip with you. So, if you own multiple businesses and have already secured funding for one, can you still apply for funding for another? The answer is a resounding yes. You can indeed apply multiple times to our various grant opportunities. As long as you meet the prerequisites and complete the adjudication process, you're eligible to receive funding for different businesses. However, we do prioritize giving support to those who haven't yet received funding to ensure that opportunities are distributed more broadly. For instance, in our most recent Women Entrepreneurs Initiative grant cycle, all recipients were first-time grant recipients. So, if you've already been funded for one business, don't hesitate to explore additional funding opportunities for your other ventures. For more details, check out our website or get in touch with our support team. Keep striving and good luck with your application.
Welcome back. As we wrap up this episode, a big thank you to you both again for being our guests, Samantha Rolle and Edison Sumner, for your invaluable insights. But as we wrap up today's session, we want to talk about opportunities. And obviously, we've had an opportunity to see the SBDC at work. And so let's talk briefly about what we've learned in terms of our short-term opportunities to improve our product.
So I think for the SBDC, one of our main improvements or areas of growth would be around creating that market analysis, collecting more data that is outside of just the limited scope of SBDC clients, really understanding the landscape of entrepreneurship in the Bahamas. So once we collect that data, we're able to now share that information with the public. We're able to share that information with entrepreneurs who can use it. We're able to analyze it and then obviously give predictions in reference to where entrepreneurship is headed in the Bahamas or perhaps even in the region. Another great growth opportunity for the SBDC has a lot to do with greater or expansion of market access for small businesses. And so we're obviously going to do that through our e-commerce platform. We're going to do that through digitization of a number of ways, our fintech platform, but as well as providing the educational knowledge as to how then do you access these various markets and what products you should have to access those markets.
Edison, the spirit of entrepreneurship is alive and well in the Bahamas. What do you see as opportunities for growth for us at the SBDC?
I think it's just a matter of being able to further provide access to funding, identifying where those opportunities are for entrepreneurs, because you've got many of them who have great ideas, but they're not sure how to access the resources to push those ideas. And I think that if we can improve on our mentorship program for entrepreneurs, because a lot of them might have the skill set for the craft that they want to create, but they lack the business acumen to run an actual business. So if we can improve upon the mentorship program, providing more facilities for entrepreneurs to be trained in business management,
Right.
right? Simple things to do with bookkeeping and accounting, etc. But I believe that if we can provide those kind of facilities to further enhance the level of preparedness for entrepreneurs, not only to access financing, but how to manage a business after they would receive those fundings for the businesses, would go a long way in developing our entrepreneurial class in the country.
Well, we thank you so much again. We've certainly gained a deeper understanding of the SBDC's role, the challenges it faces, and the exciting opportunities that lie ahead. For all of our viewers who are entrepreneurs or aspiring business owners, we hope that this discussion has provided you with useful information and some inspiration. Thank you for joining us on the SBDC's Business Blueprint. Until next time, keep striving for success and stay engaged with the vital conversations that shape our community. We'll see you again soon.